Hi, and welcome back to Head and Shop Joe. I wanted to do some further discussion on the video I posted last week. I missed a lot of material that I think will help put the picture together for you a little more completely if you have a problem with this. So what I did is I kind of drew up a block diagram of all the wires that are related to the DEF doser pump, and we're talking about the 4-wire pump, the UL2 or UL3 pump, maybe even UL4 now, generational wise. This happens to be an X15 CM2450. So I've got the pinouts for the dosing valve, which is what injects the DEF into the after treatment itself. And then I've got the pinouts for the dosing pump that makes the pressure that goes to the valve. So let's go in and take a look at that. And another reason that I did this is I don't go down to Jake's shop unless I absolutely have to, because I don't teach him anything by always helping him or holding his hand or whatever. So he would call me and he'd ask me questions about checking wiring. And I knew from what he asked me, he didn't understand what he couldn't do when it came to checking wires with a digital voltmeter, what you can't check. And you find that information out by looking at the fault tree for the particular fault you're troubleshooting, and then following the troubleshooting steps that are in the fault tree. And some of the trees will have you measuring voltages on pins or checking for a good ground. And others only have you doing an end-to-end wire check, an ohm check. And if that passes and you still got a problem, then you'd want to go back and do a load test of each of those individual wires. Okay? And in this little block diagram you're going to see in a bit, I didn't put any of the OEM after treatment plugs or connectors because, frankly, the schematic says they have 14 pins and they'll have 18. So the OEM changes things as time goes on, and that's fine. If you could get an OEM schematic, it would tell you what all those pins are for. The important thing that you need to know is that on the engine schematic, the pin in the ECM and the pin on the device will always be the correct pin numbers, okay? End to end. Okay, so let's take a look at this and we'll talk about it a little further. So let's start up in the top left corner with the after treatment diesel exhaust fluid dosing unit. And in Jake's case on this truck, the dosing unit or pump, I don't know why they call it a unit, it's a pump, it would not run. Couldn't get it to turn on. He actually put a new one on there and it wouldn't run. And so on the dosing unit, there's a relay called the after treatment diesel exhaust fluid dosing unit relay, and that's just below the dosing unit. And you see where there's a 10 amp fuse under the dosing unit, fuse block, battery, and that pin, it feeds pin 30. And that relay, pin 87, feeds the 12 volt supply, or pin 2, up in the fluid dosing unit. Okay? So the ECM, when you turn the key on, it turns on the after treatment diesel exhaust fluid dosing unit relay by powering up pin 79, sending 12 volt signal. And then if you notice, it also monitors the return. The return is pin 54. And by the way, when I say supply or signal, when we're talking about the ECM driving something, they'll call it a signal because the ECM is signaling a device to do something. In this case, it's signaling that relay to turn on by sending 12 volts to it. But it also monitors the return, which returns back into the ECM plug pin 54. And that is so if anything happens to that relay coil or the driving circuit of the relay, it can log a fault. Because if something does happen, then you will not have that pump running. Now, next, if the 10 amp fuse blows, the ECM doesn't know that, except that there is no supply of 12 volts to the after-treatment diesel exhaust dosing unit. And so up at the top, or I should say the bottom, where you see after-treatment diesel exhaust fluid pump motor speed, pin number 1 on the dosing unit, there'll be no output on that to the ECM's and engine pin 32. So in that case, the ECM is going to log a fault that the pump's not working right. Okay, but it doesn't know if there's 12 volts on pin 2. However, we can pull that plug out and we can measure for 12 volts from pin 2 to pin 4. Now, notice on the dosing unit or pump that the return is a chassis return. You can go to the battery, when I say chassis, there's a ground cable from the battery to the frame, and let's say this goes from this device in through the harness to a hard ground that would ultimately return to the battery. Not all grounds are like that. Notice the relay ground was into the ECM, but this ground for the pump is back to ground. So that's your 12 volt supply and return, the bulk of the, let's call it electrical horsepower in that diesel exhaust fluid dosing pump. Then ECM OEM pin 6 up at the top in the purple, it tells that pump how fast to run. I don't know what it uses, probably an FET, something like that it can vary the voltage going to the pump motor. And it uses the 12 volts, that's the supply. It just is how the ECM is controlling the pump speed. And then pin 1, after treatment diesel exhaust fluid motor pump speed, it knows how fast that pump motor is turning. And they don't tell us much about that. We just know that the ECM does find out from the pump that it's got RPM. It's spinning, but it doesn't have any idea whether it's making pressure. Now, let's jump down to the bottom left. This is the after-treatment diesel exhaust fluid dosing valve. That's the valve mounted on top of the big after-treatment can. It has the DEF hoses going to it. It has the 8-pin plug plugged into it. Not all the pins are used in the plug. That valve has a few jobs. One, it sprays the fluid into the after treatment. It sprays in the correct amount at the correct time. And it tells the ECM how much pressure the pump is sending to it, that pump in the top left. So on pin 8 on the bottom, after treatment diesel exhaust fluid pressure sensor, OEM pin 16. Whenever you see a blue line or blue words, that is a device or a sensor reporting back to the ECM the value that it's needs to send to the ECM, whatever that might be. Okay, up at the top of the dosing valve, pin 2, purple, after treatment diesel exhaust fluid dosing valve. So that is That is the signal pin that the ECM signals the dosing valve to start spraying DEF. Basically can tell it the volume it's spraying and the amount of time it's going to spray it. And then you've got a return for that driving circuit, and notice it goes back into the ECM, not to a chassis ground. Move on down, there's a 5-volt supply. That 5-volt supply is fed right out of the ECM OEM plug. That supply feeds, if you have a modulated throttle, not the old analog, but the solid state throttles, it would feed 5 volts to pot 2. Pot 1 is fed by its own dedicated 5-volt feed. In case this 5-volt feed gets corrupted, you don't lose all your throttle. That also feeds, that pin 8 also feeds the low coolant sensor. If the engine has a fan speed sensor, it feeds 5 volts to that. And those are the only 2 other devices that it feeds. So if you have a problem with low voltage on that 5-volt supply, keep that in mind. There's some other things farther up the list that can cause you a problem with that voltage. Now notice that the after-treatment diesel exhaust fluid pressure, pin 7, from the dosing valve, that ground for that sensor goes right into the ECM. So here's our questions. Why do some grounds go to the battery or the frame or the chassis, and other grounds go right into the ECM? The answer is grounds inside of the ECM are filtered. They're pure grounds with 0 electrical noise on them. If your alternator has a leaking diode, you can see AC riding on DC on the ground cables on the battery. If you go frame to your scope, you'll see those AC signals. That would cause all kinds of problems with the ECM interpreting these values that it's getting from either sensors or motors or unit control units that do something. In this case, of this dosing valve. So that is why some of the wires always ground to the ECM. If you ever have or you find a damaged ground wire and it goes to the ECM, don't find a clean spot on the frame and run a ground there, because it's easier than trying to find it in a harness. Don't do that, because you'll cause potentially all kinds of fault codes. Random. There'll be random fault codes too. So it can make it crazy. If the batteries are run down overnight with the lights on and he starts it up and the alternator goes to full field, you might start logging faults because that ground reference might be changing with all that current going through the system. So that's why you don't want to do that. And the last thing I wanted to say was, Jake kept calling me up and going, what voltage should I measure on pin 77, the dosing valve return or signal? Or he'd say, what voltage should I measure on the pump, on that 4-pin plug? What voltage should I be measuring on pin 3? He'd go, I'm getting 1.2 volts. And then on motor speed, he'd go, I'm getting 2.5 to 3.5 volts. And I told him, just because there's a wire there, you don't look for voltage on it, number one, unless Cummins tells you to look for voltage, and then they will tell you what voltage you're looking for or what resistance you're looking for, okay? If they don't tell you a voltage value, you're just checking that wire end to end. First, you check it with your ohm meter, and after that, if everything seems to check out good, then you want to load test all those wires, because remember, the ohm meter will lie to you. A digital volt ohm meter, if just one strand of wire out of 30 is good and all the rest are broken, that ohm meter will tell you that that wire is perfect because it's putting such a low value down that one strand of wire. But when you load that wire, it'll fail. It'll fail the voltage drop. It'll have a lot of voltage drop. And in the real world, when the ECM's trying to drive something over that wire, it can't because there's not enough wire to get the power, the current through that the ECM needs to get to that device. Okay, I hope I didn't confuse you on this. I really wanted to make that clear. And the principles we talked about today fall true for all of the electrical troubleshooting that you're ever going to do on a Cummins up to 2026 anyway. God knows what's going to come in the future. They might even have fiber optics on the harnesses on the engine someday. I don't know. But I'm not going there. So have a good day. See you next time on Engine Shop Joe.